Dear students, today let us discuss about normal distribution, which is an example for continuous distribution or continuous probability distribution. So we have seen in the previous video about exponential distribution, which is an example for continuous probability distribution. Now normal distribution is also an example for continuous probability distribution, and let us complete the discussion of normal distribution in this video. So normal distribution, when you hear the word normal, we remember the bell curve, the curve what we have here, a curve of this nature. We call this as a bell curve. So where the extremes, probably the extremes at here, this end on the right side, and extremes at the left side are normally very small quantities and they will be neglected. The important one is the middle portion, which is very huge area, that is going to be the one which is going to help us in finding the solution for the given problem if the problem is distributed using normal distribution. So normal distribution is one of the very important probability continuous distribution function. So now coming to the application areas, the calculation of errors made by chance in experimental measurements, computation of hit probability of a shot, statistical inference in almost every branch of science where we use, and most of the places where we need to understand, for example in a sample, how the sample is working, how to use the sample for a better prediction, probably normal distribution is one such solution. So the formula what we normally use here is a standard normal variate, which is given as Z, that is equal to x minus mu over sigma. So here mu is mean and sigma is the standard variation. Now, so we know that in normal distribution or bell curve, so bell curve of the form as we described here is spread across the entire x-axis. That axis ranges from minus infinity to plus infinity. So since it is a continuous distribution, we always take integration of minus infinity to plus infinity. That's why here we have a minus infinity at the left hand side and plus infinity on the right hand side. The middle line which intersects the bell curve to the middle of this axis is called as the Z. Z means the value that we have just now mentioned about standard normal variate. The middle value, what we are going to get is equal to the mean, that means mu. That means Z is equal to 0 here, where the x value is equal to going to be mu. Though for x is equal to mu, the value of Z is going to be 0. If I apply here, we will get 0. Thereby the middle line which represents mu, where the x is going to take the value of mu, the Z value is going to be 0. That is, the standard deviation is going to be 0. Then towards right of it and towards left of it, we have certain area. This area is towards the right of the Z, and this area is towards the left of the Z. That is the mean place. And we are going to show our interest in the area that is covered by the given normal distribution function. So in every problem that we see now onwards, we are interested to identify the area that is being covered by the given function, so that that area will give us the probability of that particular function being occurring or happening. So we are interested to calculate the area. Thereby we have mentioned the area. Towards the left side of Z, we say something about Z1. Towards the right side of Z, we say something about the Z2. This is only convention from our understanding point of view. But nevertheless, the area is something which we are interested, that we normally shade. Probably we'll see in the problems as we go across. Since it is also probability, the entire x-axis that ranges from minus infinity to plus infinity, the entire probability is going to be maximum 1. As we know, probability cannot exceed 1. So that is being distributed now. Towards the left hand side of Z, it is going to be 0.5. Towards the right side of the Z, it is going to be 0.5. So as we calculate the one what we have as far as the left side of Z, we say the area, whatever the area we are going to cover here, this is going to be called as the Z1 related area, or we say it is a minus area, that is towards the left side of the Z. On the other hand, what we have here is what we are going to call it as a positive side of the area. Whatever it is, the probability of the left side is 0.5, probability of the right side is 0.5. Put together, the probability is going to be maximum 1. That's what is mentioned here. The total area under the normal curve is 1. It cannot exceed because it is a probability. The area between minus infinity to mu or minus infinity to z is equal to 0. That means towards the left side of the mean is always 0.5. Similarly, towards the right side of the mean, it is always 0.5. So this normal distribution, a table has been identified so that it is easy to calculate the area. So we can just use the table and figure out the, for a given value of x, what is the area. So this normal distribution table is as below. So if you remember here, it is a normal curve, and normal curve is as shown here. That's what we have just seen. And for every value of x starting from 0 to 3.1, which is going beyond, but fine. But you have to see the right side, that is 0.4993. 0.4993 is equal to 0.5 almost. Thereby, this is going to be one representation. Since it is a symmetric towards the mean, if you look at the bell curve is always symmetric towards its mean. Whatever you see on the left hand side, exact symmetric available on the right hand side. So if you know one side value, the other side you can calculate. It is only a negative attribution what we have to give as far as the area is concerned. That's why this particular table is sufficient for us to understand what is the value your area can be under the given circumstances of a normal distribution. So we will see how this can be used. Now let us start with the problems. So problem 1, in a normal distribution, it is given we have a normal distribution. Mean is 21.5 and standard deviation is 2.5. So calculate P, that is a probability that is between 18 to 25. So now, given it is a normal distribution, we know normal distribution we have a z is equal to x minus mu by sigma, where sigma is the standard deviation and mu is the mean. So we have given x1, x2 values. x1 is 18, x2 is 25, mu is 21.5, sigma standard deviation is 2.5. So for every x1, that means why it is x1, x2, as we have seen z1, z2, something we take reference as a mean. Our value we have to always associate with the mean, whether they fall left side to the mean or right side to the mean is what we have to observe. So our mean is given as a 21.5 here, and we know mean is the center line. That is, if you take a normal curve like this, your mean is going to be middle. So this is your mean. So in this mean, which is a 21.5, 18 will be always falling towards the left, whereas 25 will fall towards the right side. That's what we mean here. So x1 we have taken similar to z1, which is the left side to the z area. z2 similar to that we have x2, which is on the right side to the z area. That is only for our convention. So now z1 is nothing but x1 minus mu divided by sigma. If you substitute that, we will get minus 1.4. What is this minus 1.4? This minus represents that it is always towards the left side of the z. That's why we told it as a z1. Similarly, we have z2, which is here now 1.4, which we have taken as a positive side, which is on the right side of the z. This is what we have as far as the calculation for this area is concerned. So z1 is minus 1.4, which represents it is left hand side to the mean. So z2 is 1.4, which represents it is going to be on the right side of the z. Now consider the normal distribution curve. So every problem of normal distribution, it is always better to write a curve. It is easy to understand. So now, as usual, we have written a curve, x-axis starting from minus infinity to plus infinity. Middle of this is going to be mean. So bell curve always symmetric. So we have written like this. Having said that, so what is the value of mean now? That is mu. Mu is going to be 21.5. So this is mean. whose value is going to be x as well. So x is going to take 21.5, that is equal to mu. At this point of time, z is equal to 0. So whatever you have towards the left hand side of z, the value of x will be less than 21.5. We have x is equal to 18, and corresponding to that, z1 is minus 1.4. So randomly we have calculated like this. Similarly, on the right side, 25. So 25 is greater than mean, and hence it is on the right hand side. We have just identified this being a 25, and the value that covers the area. So this area Z2 is only, let me take another color so that you can identify it. The area what you see towards the right side here, between Z and x is equal to 25, is what this 1.4. Similarly, the area that we see towards the left hand side of Z, which is covering this, is what between Z is equal to 0 to Z1 is equal to minus 1.4. This is the area. So this always separates the areas towards the left as well as right. That's why it is a mean here. We take it as a middle point, which is going to help us. So now, so this Z2 1.4 is only this area. So what about this portion? This portion is not being calculated. So we know that from this to this total there is a 0.5 as the probability. If I know this, that is, which is 0.4192, I will show you how did you get 0.4192. Then I can calculate this as a 0.5 minus 0.4192, so that I can get the remaining area. So this is what the identification we have to see from the area perspective. Similarly here, the total area on the left hand side is a 0.5. In that it is already covered 0.4192. Remaining is going to be the difference between these two. That's what it is. Okay. So how did you get this 0.4192? Let me take you to, so what is the value we are talking about? 1.4. Z1 is 1.4. So 1.4. In this, look at the x-axis. Sorry, look at the value of x. 1 we have, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, like that. If you see 1.4, so what is the value we have corresponding to this now? 0.4192. This is what it is. So 0.4192, how did you get? We have used the table, we got 0.4192. So now minus is simply a symbol that represent the area is on the left side of the mean. You need not worry about the minus. Similarly, on the right hand side, we have 1.4. Since the value is same, we will get the same area, that is 0.4192. So now once you know the 0.4192, we can calculate what is being asked. So what is being asked now? We have to calculate the probability of having the, between 18 to 25. Yes. Now we have seen the area that covers 18 is 0.4192. The area that covers mu to 25 is also 0.4192. The area between 18 and 25. If you look at the figure, this is the area left side of the mean, that is 18. This is the area right side of the mean, that is 18. So if you add both, you will get the total area, that is nothing but 0.4192 plus 0.4192, total is 0.8384. That area is nothing but the probability. So that's what the normal distribution. So the what we have to do here is, first make sure that to calculate Z, we have the values like x, mu and sigma. Calculate them accordingly and identify whether they fall on the left side of the Z, that is the mean, or the right side of the Z. Based on that, we can look at the table and get the area. So whatever being asked in the problem, accordingly we can add, subtract, knowing that the entire probability on the left hand side is a 0.5. Similarly, the entire probability or area on the right hand side is 0.5. Any value that we are going to calculate will be less than that. It cannot go beyond 0.5. That we have to keep in mind. So let us see another problem so that we can understand. Now, in a normal distribution, mean is given 12. Standard deviation is given 4. We have to calculate so many values that are P. Let us see. this probably should give a comprehensive way how to look at the normal distribution. So mu is given, mean, standard deviation 4, and we have to calculate first one as x is greater than or equal to 20. This is the first one. Okay, now for first one, which is x is greater than or equal to 20, so it is 20x we have written. So if you get 2, so we have got 2, so mean is 12 here. At mean is equal to 12, z is equal to 0, my value is x is equal to 20. So here the value of x is equal to 20. For value of x is equal to 20, my z value is 2. So this is above the mean. Okay, so now what is being asked? X is greater than or equal to 20. Now I am here now, so I need to calculate above greater than 20. So what is I just found now? The area between this part, what is from mean till 20, this area is what I have calculated, or I can calculate using this particular function, that is z. This will help me, so I will get it as a 0.4792. Let us see how we are getting this. 0.4792, sorry, 4772. So if you look at here at 2 exactly, what is that we are getting? 0.4772. that is the value we are getting. So this is being calculated, but what is being asked? This area we have to calculate x greater than or equal to 20. So above this, that means this area we need now. So how to get this area now? Total area is known to us, it is totally from here to here 0.5, from here to here it is a 0.5. This area is given to that, so 0.5 minus 0.4772 is what we will be getting the area for the required value, that is x greater than or equal to 20. So that's what we got now. For x greater than or equal to 20, we have area, that is z greater than or equal to 2. How do I get it now? Total is 0.5, from mean to z is equal to 2 is this. If I subtract that, I will be getting the value 0.0288. This is for x greater than or equal to 20. Let us see the other one, where we are asking to calculate p, that is the probability x less than or equal to 8. So as usual, we will write the bell curve. So this is the middle point where mu is equal to 12, that is x is equal to 12, z is equal to 0. Our value is 8, so 8 will be always less than 12, mean it will be on the left hand side, that's why we have written. For x is equal to z, we have got the value -1. Again remember here, -1 means this is representing that the value or area is towards the left side of the mean. That's the important significance of minus as far as the z is concerned. So if you have any confusion, let me call it as a z1. So this z1 is nothing but now -1, because it is left hand side to the z. So when it is -1, that is 1, as far as the number is concerned, we have to calculate. But what is the question now? X less than or equal to 8. So less than or equal to 8 means we know that it starts from -infinity, slowly goes up to 0, then again from 0 to infinity. So less than means it is towards this, that means this area we have to calculate. That's why it is being shaded now. But what is calculated now? We have calculated this area now. So this area we are getting it as a 0.3413. Let us see how. So what is the value of z now? 1. For 1, what is the value? If it is 1, the value is 0.3413. That's what we got now. We have substituted here now 0.34. This is a 0.3413. But what I want to have is this value. So what I will do now? 0.5 minus 0.3413, which is going to be 0.1587. Why? Because we want to calculate x less than or equal to 8. That means towards the left side of the 8. That means between -infinity to 8. That's why we have subtracted 0.3413 from 0.5, so that we can get this value. So one more, that is p x less than or equal to 16. So be careful here. P x less than or equal to 16. So we know that this is the middle point. This is z is equal to 0, x is equal to 12. Now what is being asked now? X less than or equal to 16. So less than or equal to 16 means from this area to this area. This entire area is less than or equal to 16. So this we know now. From this to this, it is 0.5. Now what I want to calculate? I need to calculate only this much. If I know this, if I add both of them, I should be able to get it. Let us see how we can get it now. So now Z2, let me put it as Z2 because that's what the convention we are following. So Z2 means x minus mu by sigma. What is the x value now? It is 16. If we substitute, we'll get 1. That means the area between Z0 to Z1 is what we are going to calculate. If it is 1, just now we have seen the value is 0.3413. So for this I am getting, that means this value is 0.3413. Now I have to add 0.5 with 0.3413 so that I will get the entire area that is that is expected here, that is between minus infinity to 16, or simply x less than or equal to 16. That's what we did. So we got 0.5, we got 0.3413, put together it is 0.8413. Now this is another important, x is equal to 16. All this time if you remember A, B, C problems, somewhere it is less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, greater than, less than is what we have seen, or between a range. But here exactly 16. What do you mean by exactly x is equal to 16? So exactly x is equal to 16 is a point. There is no range here. If it is less than, greater than, I can say there is a range. But when I say x is equal to exactly 16, I cannot calculate area for it. So when somebody asks you to calculate something equal in the normal distribution, you can straight away say 0, because area cannot be identified for a point. It is not easy to calculate, so we will not be able to figure out that we can say it is 0. So anytime it should be either less than or greater than or between a given range, so that area can be calculated. Okay, another problem. So now this is quite important, so maybe a bit variant we can say in normal distribution. So probability of x less than or equal to 16, given that x is greater than or equal to 12, it looks like a conditional probability problem what we have. So as per the conditional probability, probability of A such that B has already occurred. So this is what it is. I want to know the area of x is less than or equal to 16, so that x is greater than or equal to 12 is already calculated. So this is P intersection B by PB. That's what we know that. So when I have a P of A over B, that means probability of A such that event B has already occurred, the probability formula for that is intersection of both the A and B over the second denominator, that is the sample space, which is P of B. Now coming to this, so first one is x is less than or equal to 16. Just now we have calculated in the previous problem, x less than or equal to 16 is going to be this. This is up to this is x is less than or equal to 12. This portion is x less than or equal to 16. So put together, let me take another color. So put together, this entire portion is going to talk about x less than or equal to 16. That's what you did in the previous one. Now what is the second one here? Such that x greater than or equal to 12 is given. What is x greater than or equal to 12? Let me take on another pencil. Yeah, x greater than or equal to 12 is this. What is this? From this part till this part is going to be x greater than or equal to 12. So we have two colors here, one green, one red. So what is required for us is intersection. So what is intersection here now? Intersection is nothing but this part. This part is the intersection part. So this is what we have to take it now as a formula. So we have identified what is the total x is equal to 16 or less than 16. Now we also identified x greater than or equal to 12. Both of them having some common area, which is mentioned here in this arrow mark. This area is nothing but your P of A intersection B divided by this red portion, which is going to be your P of B, that is P of B, that is greater than or equal to 12, because 12 is the mean here. So that's what we are going to figure out. So this is what we can find now. So now, as usual, so Z is identified as 1 because 16 minus 2. So probably we can give as Z1 or Z2 because less than or equal to 1. No? So I can say I will give Z2 because 16 is on the right hand side. So Z2. So we have got 1. So for 1, just now we have seen how to see in the table. It gives 0.3413. Now applying the formula, P of x less than or equal to 16 such that x greater than or equal to 12, we have to see the area that is between x is equal to 12 to 16, which is A intersection B in the formula. So what is A intersection B? This is 12, this is 16. So whatever the area we get between 12 and 16 is what the intersection. That's what we have mentioned. Second, the B, that is total, greater than or equal to 12. That's what the second area. So this is the one. So what is the area between Z 12 to 16? That is 0 to 1 is 0.3413. The total area what is above 12 is towards the right hand side till the infinity, which is 0.5. So 0.5 is the denominator. So put together we will get the value 0.6826. So this particular problem has covered most of the varieties of problems that we can encounter in the normal distribution. So please go through them carefully. You should be able to understand. Now, another problem. In a normal distribution, 31% of items are under 45. 8% of items are over 64. Please see the words carefully. Find the mean standard deviation of the distribution. In the previous problems, both mean and standard deviation were given. It was easy to calculate. Now here we are supposed to calculate them given the scenario. What is the scenario here? So before we go to scenario, first let us write the skeleton of the normal distribution. X-axis and mean. So at mean we know that Z is going equal to 0 and X is going to be mu, that is the mean. Right now we don't know the mean, we have to calculate. Now 31% of the items are under 45. Under 45 means some value, let us give 45, and those values are going to be represented as the under 45. So we are telling under. So when there is a word under, always look at this as a something towards the left hand side of the mean. Whenever I say something over, let us consider it as a something right side of the mean. So left side of the mean is under and right side of the mean is over. So now let us say 31% of the items are under 45. Assume now this part is X, that is 45. Assume that this part is another X, which is a 64. So now as per the given data, 31% of items are under 45. What is under 45? That is towards minus infinity. So between minus infinity to 45, we have 31% of the items. So we know that towards the left hand side of the mean, total will be 50% or 0.5. In that 0.31, 31% is given to some values. Remaining is going to be just 19%. That 19% is what we have written. How did we write this now? 50 minus 31. Why 50? Because it is a 0.5 probability. Similarly, on the right hand side, we have identified X value as 64. It is given that 8% of items are over 64. That means between 64 to infinity, we have only 8%. That is 8%. So out of 50%, 8% is given to this. Remaining 42% is what we have in the other side. So now this we have to figure out. But put together, total will be 1. That is 100%. This gives us some clarity now, but still we have not found the solution because we have to find what is mu and standard deviation now. So given that the probability X less than or equal to 45 is 31%, that is a 0.31. Similarly, the probability or area which is greater than 64 is nothing but 8%, which is 0.08. Now we know the standard variate, normal variate, z is equal to x minus mu by sigma. So by applying this, probably you will be able to get the solution. So if you apply this, you will get 45 minus mu by sigma, 64 minus mu by sigma, that is equal to the area. What is the area now? 45 minus mu is equal to 0.31. Okay, that is nothing but the area that covers between minus infinity to 45. Similarly, 0.08 is the area that is covering between 64 to infinity. Whatever you have discussed or just mentioned here now. So now coming to this, so area between minus infinity to z0, that's what towards the left hand side of z is completely 0.5. In that we have identified 0.31, which is less than 45. Remaining will be 0.19. So remaining will be 0.19. This we already seen. Similarly, from mean to plus infinity is 0.5. In that we know from 64 to infinity is 0.08. Now between x is equal to z is equal to 0 to x is equal to 64, because we don't know the value of x right now there. So it is going to be 0.42. Now consider this now for the values of z1 and z2. We can have now z1 is nothing but x minus mu by sigma, x1 is 45 minus mu by sigma. Similarly, z2 is x2 minus mu by sigma, x2 can be taken as 64 minus mu by sigma. So for normal distribution, the table, if you look at 0.19, because we have just mentioned that 0.19, which is going to be the area between x is equal to 45 to z0. So this corresponds to some value. Let us see where that 0.19 will come. So 0.19 will be coming at, let us say, 0.5. So this is 0.5. So up to 0.4, this is having only 0.1879. That 0.19 is starting at the point 0.5. So when for x is equal to 0.5, probably we can get 0.19 as the value. So we can substitute that. So the total value of, sorry, is for the z value is equal to 0.5, we will be able to get the area which is 0.9. So if we substitute that, z1, which we have just calculated as a 45 minus mu by sigma, where I can write z is equal to 0.5. Again be careful here, we are attaching minus because this area is towards the left hand side of the mean, that's why we have used minus. Okay, now followed by 45 minus mu by sigma. Similarly, if you look at z2, we are getting 0.2 here, which is a range. So this value is given 0.2 now. So how do you get 0.2? For which value of table you will get 0.42? Let us see now. So 0.42. So if you follow this, 1.4 is 0.41, 1.41 is 0.42. So 1.41 or 1.42 precisely will give us the, so this is one extra, 1.41, 1.42, 1.43, 1.44, 1.45, 1.46, 1.47, like that. So we are getting 0.42 beginning at 1.41, or we can give 1.42 also, depends upon the whatever the value we have. So we write it as a 0.42. So we'll get 1.42. I think is small correction here. It should be 1.42. It is 1.4. 1.4. The value here is 1.4. So please take this as a 1.4 or 41. Precisely, you can take 1.41 from the table. Or it is also close. 0.42 means 0.4192 is also close to 1.4. Both are fine. We can go with any of them. No problem. So 1.4 we have taken. So 1.4 if you take, so both now, if you apply them, minus 0.5, 45 minus mu by sigma, if you take them as a equation, you will get. Similarly, sorry, 1.4, 1.4, you will get 64 minus mu 1.4 sigma. So when you, and these equations are well known to us, we have been solving them from the first class. Now they become the simultaneous equations where we have two unknowns. We have sigma as unknown, we have a mu as unknown. So these two, if you solve, probably you will get as a simultaneous equations the value of mu, which is 50, the value of sigma, which is 10. So important here is that we have to first write the normal distribution diagram, identify out of the total 0.5 area on the either side, what is given, what is not given. So for this corresponding, what area in the table will match, that close matching we can take, and accordingly we can write. Important second point here is the -5 that what you have taken here. The minus comes because we have the area towards the left hand side. The area here we have minus. This is very important because this area Z1 is something left side to the your mean area, thereby the value is going to be minus. If you don't put this minus, you will not be able to get this solution. So be careful. That's why I just mentioned for your reference this minus sign, because Z1 is always on the left side of the normal curve as we have taken right now. So once we do that, then we have to solve the two equations as simultaneous equations and get the solution. So next problem is also similar to this. I will leave it to you as exercise. Please go through that. You should be able to get the solution. So let us go to the another problem, where in a normal distribution 7% are under 35 and 89% are under 63. Again, this also same problem. I think you can do on your own, similar to problem 3 and 4. Now next, the IQ of students in a college is assumed to be normally distributed with mean 100 and sigma square 25. See, here they have not given sigma, they have given sigma square. So what we want is sigma, we don't want sigma square, so we have to take a root of it. If two students, something additional here, if two students are selected at random, find the probability. So some probability is being added here. So both the students have IQ between 102 and 110 and at least one. I think we have to use some binomial distribution. So mu is given, sigma square is given, so we need only sigma. So we know mu, we know sigma, we can calculate the Z value. So let us start with the normal distribution curve. Z is equal to 0, middle point mu is equal to 100, because mu is given as 100, that is nothing but x. Now our values of x will be between 102 to 110. So 102, 110 are always greater than 100, so they will be towards the right side of the curve, and hence we have put them in the 102 as the right side and 110 as the another right side. So this is the area that we are going to cover as far as the requirement is concerned. So corresponding to that, we have to calculate what is the value of Z. So let us see. If you substitute here, you will be getting for 102 Z value will be 0.4, for 110 Z value will be 2. So okay, you can calculate normally. I've just given as inequality, you need not worry. Separately do for 102, separately do for 110. So whatever comes is going to be 0.4 and 2. So corresponding to them, let us see what is the area that they cover in the table. So from the table, so A of 2, area of 2 and A of 0.4. So area of 2, so what is area of 2 here? So area is 2, so for 2.0 it is 0.4772. The area that corresponds to here is 0.4772. Similarly for 0.4, so for 0.4 it is 0.1554. So 0.1554. So when you subtract this, you will be getting 0.3218. Why you have to subtract? If you see here, the entire area, that entire area, normal curve that corresponds to this probability is between only this part. So when I say Z is equal to 2, I am calculating this area. When I say Z is equal to 0.4, I am calculating this area. So I know this total area, I know this gap, but how do we calculate this? This minus this, you will get this. That is how it is. We are going. So to get this, we have to subtract this part from the given part, so that we will be able to get the value. That's how we did. So we got that now, 0.3218. Now this is not the end of this, because they have asked for something extra on probability. So they have given 2 students have been randomly selected, and where the probability is 0.3218, we have just got, and Q, the IQ of the people not being there, that can be negative or failure, which is 1 minus P. Now we can have substitute using our binomial distribution, NCX P power X Q n minus X. Probably you will be able to get the data. That is, the students who are between 102 110, both the students, both means n is equal to 2, x is equal to 2. When they say at least one means x greater than or equal to 1. Since there are only 2 students, x greater than or equal to 1 is nothing but b of 1 plus b of 2, or 1 minus b of 0. So both are same. So we can calculate the either way. So you will be getting 0.54101. This is what we have done in earlier problems also. So you will be able to do this. So this is how we will be getting the solution. Next, the marks of 1000 students in an annual examination follows a normal distribution with mean 70, standard deviation 5. Find the number of students whose marks will be less than 65 and more than 75. So straight usage of normal distribution. Mu is given, sigma is given. Straight away start writing the normal distribution curve. So mu is 70. So you are at the middle point where x value is 70, z is equal to 0. Now what we are asked to write? Less than 75, sorry, less than 65. 70 is the middle, 65 will be left side of the 70. 70 is the middle, 75 will be right side of this. What we are supposed to calculate? Less than 65. If this is 65, what is the area that we get between minus infinity to 65? Next one is more than 75. If this is 75, above 75 till infinity, what is the value or area you will be getting? So this part, this is not supposed to be calculated. We don't want this. We want only the shaded area. Now accordingly, we write x value, we will get some value for z, that is 1. So corresponding to z, we will get 0.3413, and we know this total is 0.5. In this is going to have, in this particular area, that is between z is equal to 0 to z is equal to 1, 0.3413. That means this value is 0.3413, but I don't want this. So 0.5 minus 0.34, I will be getting 0.1587. So the question is, find the number of students out of 1000. So it is not only probability, it is the number of students. When they say number of students, we have to multiply with probability. You will get approximately 159. Similar problems you have seen earlier in the case of say taxi drivers, how many accidents they do, where we have multiplied, or maybe in the blade box 10,000 we have multiplied. Similar to that, this problem is also being asked. Now next one is P, x greater than 75. So x greater than 75, this portion. But we know, we have calculated now z0 to this one, this portion, and this value is also same, 0.3413, because we got the z value 1 here. So again from 0.5 you have to subtract that value, you will get this, again multiply 1000. So luckily for this problem, both the sides the value is same, so that we are getting the similar value. But need not be case always. But what is the method is, whatever the value that is required to be identified from us, we have to first figure out in the normal distribution curve, and what is not required we have to subtract, then you will get the solution. So this table always is added in between, so that we can use as a ready reference. Probably the last problem. The weekly wages of workers in a company are normally distributed with mean 700, standard deviation 50. Find the probability that the weekly wages of a randomly chosen worker is between 650 to 750 and more than 750. So first one is mu is given, sigma is given, we can calculate the z. So what is the question now? 650 to 750. So we know that mean is 700. So 650 will be always left hand side of it, 750 will be on the right hand side of it. Now first one is 650 to 750, that is between this. So this total area is what we have to calculate for A, that's what is mentioned here. Next is more than 750, that is whatever comes between this is going to be B, that is above 750. Let us see now. So here up to this we know it is 0.5, from this here it is up to 0.5, but if you say direct value you will directly get this value, but here we have to calculate again. So when you add both of them you will be getting A. That means between 650 to 700 we can calculate from the area, between 700 to 750 again we can calculate from the area, and we know the areas of these both. If you add them you will be getting total result, that is 0.6826. Why you are adding now? Because this to this we are calculating, again from this to this we are calculating, whatever comes from the table we can add straight away. Now what we are supposed to calculate? Second one, greater than 750. Greater than 750 means above this, we don't know, but I can easily calculate because total is 0.5. This portion is given to us, known to us, just now we calculated. What is this portion? 0.5 minus this, that is 0.3413 or whatever it is, that will give you the above 750. That's what we have done. We know 0.5, we know what is the actual area we just covered now. So difference between them is nothing but our actual probability, which is 0.1587. So they asked us to calculate the probability, we have calculated the probability. So 0.3413, how we are getting now? For 1 it is 0.3413. So this is how the various problems in normal distribution can be calculated. So this concludes the normal distribution and actually module 4. Thank you.